deal with airplane peanuts.
Famed comedy club Caroline's on Broadway is closing its doors.
After 30 years, comedy club Caroline's on Broadway says it's leaving its Times Square location.
All right. I'm kind of a smaller version of the last guy, a little bit.
What are we doing? Oh, just gonna murder you. Goes like this. God shows up right before he does it. Goes, hey, what are you doing? This is in the Bible, I swear to God.
That's not time. I didn't care. I will walk right off. It'd be different, man. I'm serious. It would be different if I was getting robbed by big people.
It was a great spot for us because we got to open for big names. You know, it's like Jim Jeffries or Dave Attell or Doug Stanhope.
What does Caroline's mean to you, Jeff Ross, if you had to answer that question?
It's a home club, and comics, it's like an alma mater. It's like my gym. It's my Cheers, where everyone knows my name.
One of the premier comedy clubs in all the world, Caroline's in New York City, has officially announced that after 30 wonderful years at our location in Times Square, we've decided not to renew our lease. Our final shows here will be on December 31st. This news seems to be pretty devastating to the whole comedy world, especially the New York City comics. Everyone from Mark Norman and Sam Morril to Jeff Ross were sharing some of their favorite memories from the club on Instagram last week. Caroline's closing is a big deal to comedians all over, so I reached out to a few comics who knew the club well to share some of their experiences and insights with the legendary venue. Our first guest today is comedian Dennison Sleeper, who's currently a door guy at the club and just started doing some spots there himself.
Yeah, I just did my fourth a few days ago, and I'm getting one more in. I'll get my fifth this month, and I've only been in New York for like 3 months. So I was like, this might be the home club, and it is no longer.
Damn, that sucks. So when did you first start working at Caroline's?
I think I started in October. The New York scene, especially for new comics, is obviously very competitive, and there's kind of a right way to do things, and I didn't know it. So I live in Hell's Kitchen. I figured Caroline's is, legendary club, just start hitting up the clubs. And I just kept harassing the managers and the bookers, and I said, I'll do whatever you need. Bark, work the door. So I started doing the door and barking. They had like an emergency situation one day. They don't usually use barkers. And I got in like 20 people, did 6 minutes, and then that just kept getting a few more spots each week. So yeah, probably early to mid-October, I started working the door maybe 5 days a week.
Damn, that's quite the way to get in there. I feel like, that's a great story.
I was too dumb to know better.
And it seems like it worked out. So for people that have never had a chance to go to a show there live in that building, what is a typical night like?
It's one of the most unique clubs in the city because it is in Times Square. So you get a really eclectic mix of people. There's a lot of people who are from out of the country. There's a lot of tourists who weren't planning on going to a club and they stop in. The first time I was ever actually nervous doing a set was there because that's like hallowed ground to me. And then the staff entirely are all massive comedy fans. Even since we found out that we were closing, basically all the waiters I talked to are just trying to find other comedy clubs, So this is really 40 years of passion, people that have been there forever and have nothing but fascinating stories to tell.
Our next guest today is comedian Nick Viagas, who's hosted a few shows at Caroline's himself. Tell us a little bit about what it was like hosting a show at such a legendary venue, especially the first time you did it.
Sure. I mean, it was really nerve-wracking. The first few times I did it, I remember like my first show there, I was introducing like Chanel Ali, and I introduced, I think, Mika White and Jordan Jensen, like all these people who I looked up to and thought were amazing. And I'd never even been on the same show as, and then I was introducing them. It was really inspiring. And being in the green room, I said this to my friends, there's not a lot of clubs that have a waiter in the green room, at least the ones that I had performed at. So that was very mind-blowing for me.
That's awesome.
There's a great thing where there's all this stuff built in where, you can do a guest spot there, then you can be on the show, then you can host there. Then if they know you, they can book you, they can give you kind of off nights to headline that you promote for a long time. Then you can get experience headlining. They have the comedy festival associated. So it was like this progression, and then to have that, to find out that wasn't happening. Just that I don't get to perform at this great club with all these great crowds anymore. Right. It was really surprising. Yeah.
Before we go here, did you have a favorite memory of seeing another comedian performing at Caroline's, maybe as an audience member, or just after you're hosting, getting to see someone that maybe you've always wanted to see, or just something that was very memorable?
Something that was really memorable. I don't know if this is what you're looking for, but one time I saw a comic named JJ Lieberman do a set where he was asking people if they had ever sucked off a guy, and, and there was a guy who got really emotional in the crowd. It was like, "Go back to fucking Canada." I don't know if that's what you're looking for, but that's the yeah,
that's perfect. That will be a fond memory that I'll live through you now.
Another comedian who is recently finding his way at Caroline's, Kyle Gillis, joins us live from a Starbucks bathroom. His background with the club is pretty funny.
Did you ever get together as a fan, just yourself, of the club and of comedy?
I did. Before I was able to start doing guest spots there, I was going and watching my friend Nick, who had just recently gotten passed. I went and hung out at one of the New York Comedy Fest shows there a few weeks back, and it was amazing. Probably, I don't know, 150 people in the room, maybe more. It was fun as hell. It was wild.
That's sweet. And then going from that to getting to perform, go up on stage yourself and do your act. And then 2 days after that, finding out that it's going to be closed now, has to be just a wild, bizarre feeling. What was that like?
The tonal whiplash was astounding. I have a follow-up I do every time I get to go on a news show or a show when I don't know when I'm going to be back on it, where I reach out to the producer or the booker. I say, "Hey, thanks for having me. Here's my avails for next month," or whatever. And the day I was thinking I should hit up the guys at Caroline's, their Instagram story broke the news.
That's hilarious and sad.
It was the night I got to do my first spot there. It was a ticket sales record. I come out on the street before the show starts. A friend of mine is selling tickets on the street. He tells me he's 10 away from breaking the record. And I got news that he got those 10 right before I went up. So that was pretty cool.
Wow, that even adds some more stakes to you getting to go up there. That's crazy.
It also just tells you how fucked real estate in Manhattan is, that you can break a ticket sales record 2 days before you announce your closing.
Yeah, that's the thing that I feel like a lot of people might not understand. I know that they mention it a few times in like the press releases that it just didn't make sense from a business standpoint, rent wise. Yeah. But it's still such a successful club. Like that's so confusing.
We were all hoping and praying that they have a new location in the works. They've hinted at something, but they haven't actually told us anything yet. But I would love to see them maybe scale down and get a more intimate room that they can pack out every single night. Because, the cellar rooms aren't that big. They're all a series of like smaller rooms right next to each other. So something like that maybe going forward. I'm no business analyst here, but to me, Manhattan real estate seems like the tricky part of this equation here.
Yeah, for sure. Well, Kyle, thank you for joining us. It was a pleasure talking to you, and we'll talk again soon.
Hey, thank you so much for having me. We'd love to be on the show anytime you meet a man on the street in New York.
Yeah, for sure. Appreciate it.
Now joining the show from New York City, and the first guest to ever be on the Joke World Comedy Update, Mark Norman. Mark, thank you for being here today.
Hey, thank you, sir. Good to be here. Comedy.
From your perspective as a comedy fan your whole life growing up in New Orleans, did you have any recollection of this club? Have you ever heard of it before moving to New York?
I'd heard of it. There was a show called Evening at the Improv, and I believe that filmed at Caroline's back in the day. And then moving to New York, they were one of the first clubs to work young comics because they did a thing called New York's Funniest, and anybody could audition. You only got a minute, and I won that in like 2012. Nice. But yeah, it was a great spot for you, and they fed you. You got free drinks. They had a Christmas party. They had a New Year's show, so it was like a cool room, and it was a great spot for us because we got to open for big names. It's like Jim Jeffries or Dave Attell or Doug Stanhope or Brian Regan, whoever was coming to town.
Do you remember the first time you ever got to perform on that main stage with that legendary backdrop that we see so much in clips or specials? Maybe not specials.
I was there so much. I don't really remember the first time. I'm sure it was a contest of sorts, and I'm sure I bombed horribly, but yeah. You keep going back.
Yeah. Well, one last question for you here, Mark. Do you have any favorite memories or funny stories from your time working that stage?
Wow. Well, let's see. I remember New Year's Eve one night. It was me, Dan Soder, Michelle Wolf, Gary Veter, Sam Morrill, Joe. It was like a great group. And Michelle Wolf got so drunk she blacked out, and I think fell asleep in the green room. That was fun. I remember watching I saw Bill Burr there, and he did that special. I can't remember what the name of it is. Maybe Let It Go. But it was sold out. It was before he was huge, and he sold it out. And me and Nate Bargatze went to watch, and it was unreal. He did the whole bit about Arnold Schwarzenegger. He's like, this guy's been killing. He married a Kennedy. He was Mr. Universe. Then he became the governor of a state he can't even pronounce. I can't remember the special that was on, but I got to see it. I got to see his rise. I saw Paul Mooney there. I saw Doug Stanhope there. And he saw Dave Attell in the back, and he goes, Dave, what are you doing here? And Dave Attell goes, well, I heard a white voice coming out of Caroline, so I had to see who it was. They were booking a lot of black acts at the time. Yeah. So, Dave's the funniest guy on the planet. So, yeah, so many great memories. I hooked up with a waitress there years ago. Good times. Good times. Love it.
So, it sounds like a lot of your best times were just as a fan of comedy, getting to see just the legends that were performing there. And then you are now one of those legends that was performing there. So that's pretty crazy. But Mark, thank you so much for coming on the show today. And I want to let you know, I have my bottle of Bodega Cat whiskey here. It came in the mail 2 days ago, and I'm looking forward. I'm going to do a video review where I drink the whole bottle and then talk about my experience. So we'll see how that goes.
God love you. You're a mensch. And if I was gay, I'd blow you.
Do you have any idea what might be next? A new location, or, continuing the brand in any way?
I will say, they're legends. If they want to open 24 hours after they close or 24 days, it's up to them. They said it's temporary. They wouldn't go away without having a structured plan, but I don't think they have a need to go into details with the public quite yet. They've earned every bit of respect that they have. Carolyn Hirsch just got named. She has a Carolyn Hirsch Day in New York City. So that's how much clout they have. I would say they're still going to run no matter what the New York Comedy Fest, which has been massive for them. Mm-hmm. So when they do decide to reopen, I'm not sure what location, but everything will go right back to normal, I'm sure. Honestly, it'll probably even be more insane because people are going to realize what they missed out on.
Yeah, for sure. Well, I definitely appreciate you hopping on and sharing some of your experience with the club, with all of us, and we'll look forward to seeing what's next.
Yeah, pleasure meeting you, man, and good luck talking with all the other comics.
As always, thank you so much for watching this video, and we'll be back again next Monday with some more comedy news. But in the meantime, make sure you like and comment and subscribe and do all the good YouTube stuff for this channel. Take care of it like you're taking care of a garden. And let me know what you thought of these interviews. If you want some more interactive news updates with comedians weighing in on these stories that we're talking about, or if you thought the interviews were a little much, if you thought I shouldn't be talking to people while they're going to the bathroom in Starbucks and you thought that was a little inappropriate, then let me know too. Constructive criticism. Actually, I don't want any constructive criticism. Just comment something that you liked about the video. I'm going to keep doing whatever I want with the channel. But I love you guys. See you next Monday.